On the Gratitude Show today, we are privileged to be joined by Mr. Eric Wowoh. Mr. Eric Wowoh is the founder and executive director of Change Agent Network. Mr. Eric Wowoh is a former refugee, and his new book is called Return of a Refugee. Mr. Wowoh, welcome to the Gratitude Show.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to be here today, and thank you for everything you do. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
the opportunity.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
So, our first question tonight to you, Mr. Wowoh. The Gratitude Show is um, a component of the Join Me Thank America project. Of course, it is a Stewardship International initiative. On this program, everything we discuss is gratitude. Thank you, whether you were receiving it or you were giving it. So, what does gratitude really mean to you? Whether you were receiving gratitude or you were giving gratitude, what does it mean to you?
So, thank you for the question. I think gratitude means application to receive more, in my understanding of the whole subject matter, and it's one of those keys that helps you to give you a shortcut to your future. People who are very grateful,
Mm-hmm.
tend to receive more
Okay.
from others.
Okay.
So, if I had a problem or you had a problem, you came over to me with $100 problems,
Mm-hmm.
and I took the 100 and I gave it to you, and I never heard back from you. Or you came back the next day and I added to you.
Okay.
Something like, oh wow, the 100, yeah, thanks, but it wasn't enough. It couldn't even solve much of my problems.
Yeah.
That just destroys my spirit. It crushes my spirit from doing more for you.
Okay.
But if you came back tomorrow, maybe even before day breaks properly, and say by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, you're like, "Hey, Eric, I just called to tell you thank you so much for what you did. Yesterday. You have no idea. Even though it was not much, but it meant a lot for me. I just want to call you." Since that becomes an application instantly
Mm-hmm.
for me to ask you the next question. Okay, so what is the situation now? What are you doing? So it becomes an application to receive more. That's what gratitude is for me. And I think it's true for everybody. It's like you have a child at home. If you did something for your child or your family, and the person said thank you, and they kept telling you thank you,
Yeah.
sooner or later you want to
You want to
give
do
them
more.
more.
You
Yeah,
want to.
because it's a good feeling to have.
Yeah, of
It's a
course.
good
I,
feeling.
I I think it's a good feeling to
It's a
say
good
to,
feeling.
to say to say
It's like
thank you.
receiving praise for something good you did.
So, Mr. Wawa, on the Gratitude Show, basically, Stewardship International created the Gratitude Show as a platform for people all across the world to have the opportunity, to respond to the generosity of America with at least a sincere thank you. Uh, there is always something to be grateful for when it comes to America. What is it for you? What are you grateful for to the American people and to the nation of America in general?
Well, for me, when it comes to the generosity of America, there's a lot to be grateful for. I mean, I can think as far back as um, the days when I was still stuck in the refugee camp as a refugee,
Yeah.
and also being brought to the U.S. on the refugee resettlement
Okay.
program.
Yeah.
This was something I did not ask for,
Okay.
and I look at it as an opportunity, a privilege
Yeah.
to be brought here. I'm not an American citizen. My both parents were born in Liberia, and nobody owes me anything to bring me to America.
Yeah.
But somebody saw the need to do that. They pay for the flight,
Mm-hmm.
they pay for the accommodation, and when I was brought here, I was given an opportunity to, tap into the American dream, pursue my own personal dream and live that dream, which is something I don't truly deserve, but it's a privilege extended to me. So everything that I do today, everything that I am today, I can, if I'm to be very honest, I can twist it back to the American generosity. So there's a lot that they've done. I think it's that spirit of American generosity that keeps this country going around the world.
Oh, that's incredible. I can also relate to that because I remember when I was a refugee too, in refugee camps, we would receive ration. Like, for example, I would receive bag of rice, and on that bag of rice, we'll see the USAID logo,
Right.
and it says from the American people. I can relate to that because myself, I owe my life partly to the generosity of America. Let's imagine a world without the generosity of the American people. No USAID, no Peace Corps, no Clinton Foundation, no Carter Center, no National Democratic Institute. what kind of word would exist without the generosity of the American people?
Well, I think it's be a world of chaos. It's going to be a chaotic world.
Okay.
And that's the kind of world that we live in back in the Roman Empire days, back in the days of cannibalism, where there was no room for the weak,
Okay.
to survive. It was all about the strong. When you watch the movie Gladiator, the Gladiator days was a day where you were born a warrior and you die as a warrior. There's no place for weak people. There's no place for children. Well, all of that changed as a result of the American culture and way of life
Hmm.
throughout Europe. It started from Europe and then ascended to the rest part of the world.
Hmm.
And I think there's one thing that can be attributed to that, and that is when you look at the American money
Uh-huh.
keenly, there's a big, powerful statement there that we don't normally pay attention to.
What is that statement?
And the statement is, "In God we trust." And that was the foundation upon which. And if you trust God, then of course, there's no way you're going to live your life without believing in giving back or in generosity. You realize that nothing belongs to you, you brought nothing into the world, you're going to get nothing out of the world. And that, I think, was the foundation upon which this country was built.
Okay.
That we take care of one another.
That's good.
God is the provider of everything we have, everything we own, everything we are. So we don't own anything, we're just stewards, we're managers. You use it and you hand it over to the next person.
Good.
And that's why in America they believe in the generational transformation. It's always about the future. It's always about the children of America. It's always about our grandkids, our great grandkids. You listen to most Americans, that's what they're going to tell you. I'm doing this because of my
My
children. I want to
children.
give back.
That's a good
So
one.
the reason why my book is called Return of a Refugee, that's one reason. Okay? I receive a lot, more than I deserve. And what I'm trying to do is to look back and follow the example of the American society.
We will talk more about your book sometimes in this interview. Um, Talking about the gratitude to America in response to um, all of the generosity of the American people. Um, Gratitude is one thing that exists in almost all cultures of our world. In Liberia and most parts of Africa, for example, the first thing kids learn is to say thank you. Why is it that we haven't really seen much of gratitude coming from the world in response to the generosity, the sacrifices of the American people? Why have we really haven't come to a point to see so much of gratitude? Like I said, from the sacrifices, in response to the sacrifices that the American people made.
Well, the issue of lack of gratitude around the world for me can be attributed to several factors. And one of those is a sense of entitlement.
Entitlement.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Now, when you feel that you are entitled to something, it's your right.
Hmm.
Now, there's no need to be grateful for it.
Okay.
It's your right.
Yep.
So we've drifted away from those things, even life, like education.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Yeah.
It's not a right.
Okay.
Now, if you change the definition of that to making it a right for everybody,
Uh-huh.
then there's no point in telling anybody thank you once they give you education. What's the point? That's my right. By the way, I deserve it. You just don't give me what belongs to me. So there's no need to tell you thank you. So it becomes a sense of entitlement. But when you look at it as something you don't deserve, you don't merit it.
And somebody is sacrificing to let you have it.
Then it becomes incumbent upon you to be grateful for it.
But that's a problem though for the world, because come to imagine, for example, how can I claim entitlement to, for example, a Peace Corps volunteer denying themselves all of the advantages in America and going to remote places of the world to help teach the next generation. Say, for example, people, all American people as a whole, like depriving themselves their a part of their lunch, to provide for most of the nonprofit organizations in America that reach out, for the world. How then can people outside of America who are beneficiaries of these initiatives claim entitlement to it? How does that come about?
Well, a couple of things. And again, it has to do with your value system as a
Okay.
person,
Mm-hmm.
as a culture.
Yeah.
What's the value system of your culture? Now, in America, it has become part of the way of life of Americans to look out for their neighbors, look out for the rest of the world, give back to their children and the generation following, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's embedded in them. They hear about it, they see it. Their parents go to war, friends go to fight in foreign countries to free foreign nations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become part of the way they live. It's part of the DNA.
Okay.
In Africa, and I'll pick on Liberia here because that's
Yeah.
where I'm from.
Yeah.
In Liberia, the problem is that people are so poor
Okay.
that they become desperate. They want more of it.
Okay.
While the Americans kind of trying to get away from having more, and this
Okay.
guy who have had nothing in his life trying to grab
More.
of it.
Okay.
And sometimes you don't even know what is enough in the process of grabbing.
Okay. I
So
got
you
you.
want to grab everything you can and keep everything that you grab, thinking this is the way you're going to get happy, this is the way you're going to have a sense of fulfillment. Insecurity. You're not quite sure of what the future holds for you. So this is my only chance. This is the only opportunity I have. I'm just going to go for it and not going to worry about anybody else. So, but the Americans have moved from that mindset, and they become a channel. Instead of being a reservoir,
Yeah.
instead of just taking in, they
Yeah.
become a channel through which it flows to other. And to me, it's a very beautiful life, but it depends on the individual, what they want out of life. Are you building your life as a legacy, or you want to live a successful life? Because it's a difference between being successful and living a life of influence or legacy building. They are two different things. So you can be very successful and have no legacy life behind, or you very successful and but at the same time being insignificant to the world. So most Americans are more conscious about being significant to their world, to their society, to humanity, than just being successful. So it depends on the individual what it is that they want out of it. So Peace Corps going to Africa is about, okay, I want to do something that's bigger than myself.
Okay.
And to do something that's bigger than yourself has to do with other people.
All the people.
It can't be about you. And once you have a vision, and that vision puts you right in that place, that same position as the American Peace Corps, because they want to do something for the world. But if the vision is about you being happy, how much money you can get, what kind of house you want to have, the material stuff that you want to have, then that reduces the whole thing to you. You become the focus, and that thing gonna die the day you die.
Got you.
You can't go beyond that.
Got you. So I'm going to ask you this question. There was an earthquake in central Italy in 2016. Several earthquakes occurred in 2016 in Italy, but I am making specific reference to the one that happened on August 24, 2016. A reporter went to the earthquake affected the city, and then she had an interview with this survivor, an earthquake survivor. Listen to what the earthquake survivor said. She said, "I was born in this town. I grew up and got married here. All my children were born here. I can't imagine living here to live anywhere else." And the quote. Then she concluded the interview with the reporter by saying, "I am happy that this interview will be aired in America." Now, she told us what she was going to be happy about, but she does not tell us why she was going to be happy. I want us to speculate a little bit. Why would people outside of America suffering, going through anguish and bitterness, be happy when their story is told in America?
I think to answer your question, there are a couple of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
America is the only country where you have a platform. You can be whatever you want to be, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And you have a responsibility to steward your own story.
Okay.
Okay, that means your story is your story, and we all have that story.
Yeah.
This is where your people are interested in hearing your story,
Okay.
and they have the system, they have the infrastructure put into place to, magnify that story to the rest of the world if they're interested
Okay.
in the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, what she meant was, with that story coming to America, give her a voice to
Okay.
reach out to people that she would normally not be able to reach out to by herself because she
Okay.
doesn't have the platform.
All right.
And that is the power of the media, the power of the airwaves. Okay,
Yeah, but
so
why particularly America? Why no excitement when the story is heard in Liberia or in China or in Haiti, for example?
what Liberia,
What is special about the
America,
story being told in America?
because America, that's the place where there's a platform for the voice of the voiceless to be heard,
Okay.
and it's a place where everybody who feels that they are hopeless, they have nothing to hold on to, they are left out, the true weight of society feel they have a place, they have a chance. So because that's the culture out here, it's a home for everybody who want to live life in peace and have a plan or a dream for themselves. So they give you a chance to shoot at it.
A place where your story is heard and somebody will care.
Somebody cares. So you become the voice of the voiceless. There are a lot of people that went through that earthquake that you just mentioned about that never had a chance to talk to any reporter from the U.S.
Okay.
But because she had a chance to speak,
Okay.
so she
Then
automatically
that way she can now bring
represent
their story
the
to America,
story
and
to
through her story,
don't
America
know
can be
learn
able
more
to
about the
know
other
the story.
stories of others that left behind that did not survive the earthquake, how the earthquake happened, why it happened, where was she, what happened to those who couldn't speak. Now she become that voice, and that's again giving back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she holds on to that story. That means the story is lost, it's gone. And America is the only nation right now that can give you that platform, that global platform, to voice that story and make people to take action about what happened to you or what happened to your generation.
Incredible. Mr. Wowoh, you have written a book, a powerful book, Return of a Refugee. Um, how did you come to select the title of your book, and what message do we get from the title?
Well, the title for me is deeply connected to my personal story,
Mm-hmm.
my identity, my image, and the purpose for which I was brought to the U.S., the
Mm.
circumstances under which I was brought here.
Yeah.
I believe one thing that when you forget about where you come from, you
Mhm.
become ungrateful. When you forget your story, you become ungrateful.
Yeah.
And then you stand the chance or the risks of repeating history. History does not repeat itself. You will repeat it because you forgot about it.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do in this book was to be able to share my own story, as it happened,
Okay.
not to create a fiction story, but
Okay.
as it really happened. So Return of a Refugee, I was brought here in 2006 as a refugee from Liberia.
Yeah.
I never chose it. I didn't even know what I was headed, what was going to be happening there, who was going to meet. Not know anybody, no acquaintances, and drop off in Lafayette, Louisiana, of all places in the U.S., right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the story. I came here under the refugee identity,
Okay.
and that's what is on file right now. If you check with the U.S. government how Eric came to America, if they check it,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be on the refugee status. But what I wanted to portray in the book, Return of a Refugee, is saying about stewardship, is by giving back.
Okay.
I was brought
As a refugee.
as a refugee. Now, before you take something from somewhere,
Mhm.
there is an original place of origin. There's a
The place of
origin.
origin. Yeah.
Origin.
Yeah.
So I was brought here as a refugee. That means I was already a refugee from somewhere.
Yeah. Of course.
And that place is Liberia
Okay.
and Nigeria and all the other places that we went.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say in the book is that we need to return to our first love.
Okay.
Your story is crucial to fulfilling your mission
Okay.
and your purpose or your vision, whatever you have to accomplish. Your story is crucial to that.
Yeah.
Because your story, nobody can argue with it.
Of course.
They can argue everything else. They can argue with your qualification, your IQ, your whatever, but your story is your story. Nobody argues with that. So I want to return as I came as a refugee. That's my identity.
Yeah.
I never chose it, and there's nothing wrong with being a refugee. That was the circumstances under which I was brought here.
Mm-hmm.
And use this as a platform to encourage other refugees
Mm-hmm.
and other migrants, that came over to America to live a better life. That there is a nation that you left behind, a place where you have the greatest opportunity to impact your generation and leave behind a legacy. A place where you have an opportunity to have several pages in the history books of
Okay.
that place that you came from.
You came from.
But if you get lost, then you become ungrateful to the American public because the whole idea of bringing you here was to empower you,
Empower
to
you.
invest into you,
Yeah.
to pour out into you so that you can have the opportunity to look back and help others that they couldn't help to get out of Africa.
That's really good. So, this question is a little bit unfortunate, but this platform has given me the opportunity to see a lot of people and talk to them about giving gratitude to America for all of the immeasurable sacrifices that America has given to the world. I talked to this individual who came to this country as a refugee, from elsewhere, and he tells me that America needed him more than he needed America. In fact, by coming to America, it was like a favor. Looking at your story and considering that there are millions of people out there, if not billions, wishing to have just an opportunity to come to America, what would be your response to somebody talking and thinking and talking like that?
Well, I think a couple of things. I would speak to my own personal situation, right?
Yeah.
I don't know from what viewpoint. So I can't speak to that person, but this is what I would say about that. America does not owe anybody, just like Liberia, and you and I don't owe anybody a tank.
Yeah.
Okay, we do it because of the love we have in our hearts for
Yeah.
fellow human beings,
Yeah.
and we want to make a difference. That's why we do it.
Okay.
America was not built specifically for a specific group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I tell people all the time, right? I'm from northern Liberia
Yeah.
in West Africa. I never chose that.
Yeah.
Nobody consulted with me. God didn't even consult with me about my origin from Lofa County. Where my both parents are from. My mom never went to school. There's a lot that happened there. Being brought to America, America was built with a vision in mind for
Okay.
a specific group of people.
Okay.
Okay. Now, being brought here as a refugee as a result of calamities of civil war, or suffering,
Yeah.
or poverty,
Yeah.
that's a privilege. Because there are millions of people
Yeah.
who try every single day
Yeah.
to cross the U.S. border just to come here,
All
and
right.
they die in the process.
Yeah.
They don't live to see it.
So.
So if you are all the way overseas in Liberia,
Yeah.
wherever it is in the world, and the U.S. people, the people of America, the American people reach out to help you, provide tickets, flights, accommodation, food money, and everything, and bring you over here, I think you have no choice than to be extremely grateful for that.
You've been a refugee in somewhere around half a dozen countries. How does the social, economic, and political condition of a country determine the life of a refugee in that country?
Well, for a refugee to feel safe and have hope to live in a country, there got to be stability in that country.
Okay.
If the stability doesn't exist, the refugee cannot stay, and that was the reason why during the days I was a refugee, I kept running.
Running.
Yeah, because every country you went to, I was in Ivory Coast for a while, and it was becoming unsafe for
Okay.
Liberians
Yeah.
because of the cross-border conflict between Liberia and Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
So it was not safe for young people.
Right.
So from a security standpoint,
Yeah.
it was not a good idea to stay there.
Right.
So we migrated. Came to Ghana, spent some time in Ghana. Also realized there was economic crisis there. It was not a political crisis. It was not a security crisis. It was economic
crisis.
We couldn't stay there either because Ghanaians never had jobs and they couldn't help. Even if they wanted to help, there was very little they could do to help.
Right.
So that kept us going.
Right.
Came to Togo, Benin, and the rest of until we got to Nigeria.
Okay.
And Nigeria back then in the 90s was very good economically.
Yeah.
And security wise, it was a little bit stable.
Yeah.
And there was a refugee come out there where the UNHCR and U.S. government and other people were giving free food. So that made me to stay there for 10 years, straight, because the environment existed to make help me find what I was looking for, and that was security, economic opportunity, and that brought me to Nigeria. So the same thing with the U.S. Right now in the whole world, if you were to decide what country you want to live in.
Because I was going to ask you that question. What does it mean to be a refugee in countries like Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Benin, Guinea, and all of those places versus being a refugee in the United States, for example.
That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. You can't even compare.
What is the main difference?
The main difference is the opportunity that America gives you, the economic opportunities that it gives you, the sense of security, the freedom that you never experienced in any of this country. They treat you because you are a human being, not because of anything else.
Okay.
Whereas in this country, you may have one and the other is missing. So
Yeah.
you may have security but don't have economic opportunity. You may have economic opportunity but there's no security.
Yeah.
So there's always something. There's always a hindrance, an obstacle
Yeah.
in some of this country. But here, it's an open check. It's a blank check. You got to fill it in. Whatever you want to fill it in.
Incredible. So you went through a lot of suffering and pain in Liberia. At some point, you were beaten and lacerated and left to die. The miracle happens, and you survived by chance, and then you fled to several other countries, and you ended up in the United States as a resettled refugee. What is the name of the group that brought you to America?
Um, the group that brought me to America, from what I know, was the U.S. government itself.
Yeah.
That gives me the legal paperwork that needs to be done, that legal privilege.
Yeah.
The American people in generally
Yeah.
give me that right because the laws of the U.S.
Yeah.
the foreign policy
Yeah.
that I came on.
Yeah.
But they needed to have partners.
Okay.
So they look back again, talk about stewardship, talk about giving back.
Yeah.
So they contacted the Catholic Church,
Okay.
like they do with the Catholic, the Lutheran, the Baptist, and other nonprofit,
Okay.
community-based agency
Yeah.
that could help in my resettlement process.
Okay.
So my story was written by the U.S. government, brought to America, and shared with partners,
Okay.
other partner organizations of the U.S. government. So it was the Catholic
Okay.
Diocese of Life here, Louisiana, which is a branch of the Catholic Bishop Conference of America,
Okay.
based in Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
that sponsor or provide the funding
Okay.
to pay for the flights. So it was a loan. It was a micro. It was a loan given to me.
How much was that loan?
I think it was $3,000 US,
Okay.
and the money was supposed to be repaid within a period of 2 to 3 years
Okay.
to the church,
Yeah.
so that they would use that as a self-perpetuating
Yeah.
fund
Yeah.
to help other refugees.
Like,
So
like,
the same
like
thing.
almost like a revolving fund to
Yeah.
help refugees.
Other-
come
the
across.
same thing about giving back.
Yeah.
So you come, you receive. Now,
Yeah.
if you say, "Well, this is my right,"
Right.
you just have prevented other people
Other people from having the same opportunity
that you
had.
were given.
So, you got to the United States. You acknowledge that this is a good venture. This is a very a life-saving intervention on the part of both the U.S. government and the Catholic organization that brought you here.
Right.
Are you in touch with this Catholic organization or
Oh,
something?
sure. As a matter of fact, in my book, I just got an award from the Catholic Bishops Conference of America.
You say an award?
An award,
Yeah.
yeah. It was last year, November, in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
They reached out to me and they were like, "Well, we brought you here as a refugee, and what we're trying to highlight is the positive story of refugees who come here and are literally changing the world.
Okay.
Even though they came here as refugees,
Yeah.
they handed with nothing except for the pants on them.
Yeah.
But you have helped to exemplify the mission of the Catholic Church, which is take one. You can't help everybody. You can't help everybody, but you can help someone.
Someone. And that someone can go back to become helpful and other
to
people.
the rest of the people. So you were brought over here from Liberia, and now what you're doing should be the mission of the Catholic Church to
Okay.
help all of those people. But now we don't have to do that anymore because we have already empowered you to do that. So
Incredible.
because of that, we're going to give you the award, and that was given in Washington, D.C. last year, November, as a way of saying thank you. Keep up the good work you're doing. We are paying attention. Now we don't have to go to Liberia and try to transform Liberia through education. Now you're able to do that because we give you this chance to come over. And that's the importance of giving back.
Fantastic. So you go through all this starvation and refugee camp and all of that. You eventually find yourself in America through the help of the American government and other partners. It is only normal to be worried or to be concerned about what America has to give you. Like everybody does. Come to America, you now breathe in fresh air. You look forward to generous America. To give you what you need as a person to be happy. What made you to get interested in going back to solve some of the many problems you left home? And I ask this question specifically because this is a society that was not kind to you at all. As a child, they did not give you chance. They did not protect you. But here you are in America, less than a month, according to your book. You worried about going back to help. Where did you take that kind of heart from?
Well, um, again, we go back to the story. You know, most times we as people we respond to our stories. Our stories determine what career path we take most times.
Yeah.
How we handle life, how we treat other people. So when I look back at my own personal life, where I was born, how I grew up, and how I came here, I realized that a lot has been given to me over the years. A lot. And lots of people that were born the same year I was born, under the same circumstances,
Yeah.
they did not survive
Okay.
and never had that chance to even try. Probably they would have done far better than I'm doing today. I don't
Yeah.
know. But they were not given that chance.
Right.
So coming to America, I had to sit down and think about one thing, that Liberia, where I was taken from and
Yeah.
brought over here,
Yeah.
have some serious issues. Very challenging problems over there.
Yeah.
From education to poverty to illiteracy to everything, infrastructure, all of that. The question I constantly asked myself every time I was here was, this is great. I have electricity, I have running water, I have a car, I have a great job. I don't have to go back to Liberia.
Yeah.
Except for one reason,
What is the reason?
and that is I have a responsibility to look back for those who couldn't get out. Because somebody looked back and got me out.
So, in other words, it really doesn't matter who took care of you,
Yeah.
but it is the fact that
The-
a seed of magnanimity is a seed of goodwill is in you, and you owe yourself of the responsibility
I
of
owe
giving
that.
back to
Yeah.
the others.
Yeah. Not to the Catholic Church, not to the U.S. government directly.
Got you.
But the purpose is you got out. We brought you out
Yeah.
because we can't get everybody out of Liberia.
Yeah.
But since we got you out, it becomes your responsibility. That's the expectation of the American public. You look back now, there are 4.5 million Liberians that left behind.
Yeah.
That have no running water, no electricity, no education, no hope, nothing to hold on to. And then you came out here, and maybe you have a degree. Maybe you were able to go to college. Maybe you were able to learn a trade. Maybe you were able to get a job where you pay minimum wage, which is like $8 an hour, $10 an hour. By every standard, you are the richest man in Liberia. You are the elite of your nation. Because in Liberia, people live on less than $1 a day.
Yeah.
And here you're making $8 an hour. You are the elite of the Liberian society. So when they're talking about elite, they're not just talking about the president and the superintendent and the minister. No, that includes you, because you live in the number one country of the world.
What a better word we would have if everybody was thinking like
And secondly, if we all get out and we don't look back, that means we don't have a country.
Exactly.
So don't even talk about country. You don't have a country.
All right. So
You have a country when you look back, and your ability to look back shows the rest of the world how important that place is to you.
exactly. So tell us a little bit about your organization, Change Agent Network. What is it about?
Change Agent Network is about connecting people of like minds. Okay, that's what the name is called. Network, the
Okay.
last name,
Yeah.
Network.
Mhm.
I don't do anything. All I do is to connect people.
Okay.
It's to be a bridge,
Okay.
that connector, get people talking about the issues, and give people the opportunity to do something about the issues that almost killed all of us.
The
To
issues.
respond, yeah.
Yeah.
The situations that almost killed you,
Okay.
that almost killed me.
Yeah.
What are we going to do about it? Get them talking, get them
Okay.
coming with ideas,
Yeah.
resources, and create a platform for them to be able to voice out the stories, the untold stories that we have.
Yeah.
So change agent, you look at the first name, change.
Change.
It means to transform. It means to change position.
Hmm.
It means to reconsider.
Yeah.
It means to make a difference. That's what change is.
Yeah.
Okay, now we look at a very close look at our Liberian society, the whole society, Africa as a whole.
Yeah.
There's a need for change in every sector of our lives. What is education, agriculture? There's need for change everywhere. All right.
Yeah,
Now,
and that brings me to my next question. Uh,
let me just complete it.
Go ahead.
So the change is what we need.
Okay.
Okay, we try everything else. It has not worked. It's not working. And that's what they call insanity. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result without you willing to change.
Okay.
So the problem we got in Africa is the fact that we want everything else to change as long as that change does not affect the way we live. So we're okay for change. We're ready for it. As long as it's not going to change my lifestyle, it's not going to affect me, it's not going to cost me anything, we can go for it. So the agents are the people who are supposed to bring about these changes that we want to see happen, which is very weird. You're not going to find a lot of people wanting to be change agents,
Of course.
okay? Because it's not a comfortable spot.
Right. Of course.
It's going to cost you.
Right.
So the agents are those who want to, like here, if you want to see change in the area of gratitude,
Hmm.
Stewardship International,
Yeah.
you are an agent of change for appreciation, okay?
Yeah.
But that is you. Not
Okay.
everybody else will believe in what you believe in, so that gives you a
course.
job to do. And who are you trying to, who are you that agent of change for? You are agent of change for those who are ungrateful.
Yeah.
Those who don't see the need to appreciate anybody for anything
That's
they
how-
do for them. That's the agent. So in my area, I'm an agent of change in the area of education, in the area of infrastructure development, economic opportunity, in the area of sustainable development. That is the area I want to go into. So the network is just to bring the individuals, what is in the area of entertainment, in the church, the political arena, agriculture, education, healthcare, all these agents that have gifts and talents and ideas and visions to transform the country in their own given area, bring everybody together and we all work together to achieve one goal.
Talking about education, uh, there are many problems in the world, uh, and even Liberia, West Africa, where most of your operations are concentrated. How did you come with education as an area of intervention? There are other areas like healthcare and shelter and sanitation. Why did you choose education?
Well, having lived in America on and off for 10 years, there's one thing I've discovered about American prosperity. The secret of American prosperity is education.
Mhm.
If you can recall, even in the days of slave trade, slaves were not allowed to acquire education
Yeah,
because everybody knew that that would give them true freedom.
yeah,
All right?
yeah.
So if you want to keep a person enslaved to themselves forever, deny them the opportunity to be educated. All right? And that has been the issue with Liberia over the years. We have a public that's not informed.
Okay.
Okay? The American public is very informed. Their leaders don't tell them what to do.
That's
They
true.
tell the leaders what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And they force the leaders to do what they know is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and they make the decision for themselves. Nobody thinks for them because they have that independent mind. And that's
Yeah.
what education does for a person. It gives you an independent mind. You make a decision concerning yourself.
Yeah.
Now, in the absence of education, it makes it difficult for any country to develop its natural resources. So like Liberia, we have gold, we have diamond, we have oil, we have rubber, we have human resources, but yet we are considered one of the poorest in the world. How can that be? Because lack of education.
Education.
We don't have that. So education for me is the first key to sustainable development. But the education alone is not going to cut it,
Okay.
but it gives you a pathway
Okay.
to get in there. There are other things you need to add to it. So for me, if you want to change a person's life, you don't change the clothes they wear, you don't change the house they live in, the car they drive,
Okay.
you don't give them food to eat. You can do that for somebody who's dying
Yeah.
of starvation.
Yeah.
But after that, you only help them. That's what they call sustainable development. You empower them. So freedom without education is useless.
Okay.
Okay? Now, you can call yourself a free person, but if you're not empowered, what do you do with the freedom? the freedom become useless to you. So it's like Liberia and the rest of Africa, we are free nation. Yeah, we're a free nation, but we can feed ourselves. So are you really free? No, you're not free. You still depend on somebody else. So the way to break that out of that cycle is to educate your people to know how to feed themselves, determine themselves, govern themselves in a very good way, and have a room for the generation following. So my focus is to first change the mindset of the Liberian society. That's the whole country. We got to change our culture. Our way of life is terrible. And to do that, you have to educate people. And to educate people is going to cost you.
Okay.
You got to change the way the person thinks. Because if you change the way the man thinks, you will be able to change the way he lives.
Okay.
The value system will change. And this is why in Liberia, if you start a little business, you got to tell the guy what to do. You tell him when to wake up, when to go to work. You know, the day you stop telling him, he messes the whole thing
crisis.
up.
Yeah. There are millions of refugees in the world today, in Europe, the Middle East, and South Sudan refugees in Africa and stuff like that. Um, what can these millions of people living in anguish, uh, broken with broken hearts, what can they learn from your story?
Well, my story is my story, right? Everybody got their own story.
Yeah, but there's something they can learn from your story because you once was a refugee, like they are today.
Well, I first think you got to start with self-identity. You got to be willing to accept yourself as
Okay.
you are, your story. You didn't choose a story. You know, you did not choose a story. So beating yourself up not going to help you.
Okay.
There's a reason why the story was even written.
All right.
Now, like Africa, I'll pick on Africa. It's the only continent where we have 300 years of lost history.
Okay.
There's no history anywhere. You go to Liberia right now, history. In fact, what happened in the 90s, early 2000, it's all gone, lost. Children we are born in 2001, 2002, up to present from the 1990s, have no idea, no clue what got you and I out of Liberia.
Yeah.
They have no clue.
Yeah.
And what are we saying to them? Nothing.
Yes.
Zero, just quiet. You know, why we can't go back to Liberia? Nobody knows. What we're doing in America? Nobody knows. You know, what our visions are for the future? Nobody knows. So what I'm hoping that people get out of my story is that, like, I'm grateful. I embrace my story.
Mhm.
Okay? And my story, if I can embrace my story, I should be able to embrace my identity.
Okay.
And if I can embrace my identity, then I'll embrace my image.
Okay.
And if I can do that, then I'll be able to embrace my purpose. And embracing these four things will help me to enrich the lives of others because I've learned to enrich my own life by accepting myself as I am. Not beating myself up, not trying to be like everybody else, you know, run a competition and trying to who's the fastest, who's the strongest, who's the smartest. That destroys the whole thing. Because you keep following, it's like you're following somebody.
Yeah.
And you're not trying to find your own footing in life. If that person vanishes from ahead of you, then you are lost.
Got you.
But your own identity with your own destination in mind would take you to wherever you want to go.
This is not
So
an
it's
end
like
of
when
it.
you were driving here this evening, when you were bringing me here,
Yeah.
there were a lot of exits
Yeah.
on the road.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody asking you, come this way, come that way, but you said, no, I'm not going. This is where I'm going. And that's why it does. The story helps you to stay focused on your purpose.
So even as a refugee, all is not lost.
It's
still
not
up to
lot.
you.
It doesn't matter what title, what label society places on you. It's just titles, it's label. That's their opinions. But what matters is what do you say about yourself, about your country, about your ethnicity, about your tribe, your culture, you know, your skin color. What do you say about those things? It's what matters the most. It's the definitions with you. It's not what people think.
Incredible. We can spend the rest of the night talking about the generosity of America, the Change Agent Network, and your book.
Right.
But let's end on this note. Jordan Bryant,
Right.
uh, a teenager, in fact, less than 13.
Right. She's 15 actually
Oh, she's 15 now.
this year, yeah.
All right. But a few years back, um, Jordan Bryant sold hairband
Mm-hmm.
and T-shirt
Mm-hmm.
on her campus to raise
Ten
over ten
thousand
thousand
US
US
dollars.
dollar,
Right.
you know, and to provide water facility for school going kids
Lofa County,
in Lofa County,
Liberia.
northern Liberia.
Right.
When you talk to Jordan Bryant, for example, what is her motivation? What is her courage, for a child like that to get involved with changing this world that she has done nothing at all? Most of these problems in this world, she has done nothing to create this problem. Why would a teenager, want to change the world? What is her motivation?
The motivation is that you need to find out what makes you angry. Anything that makes you angry means you were designed to solve that problem.
Is she angry about something?
About hunger, about thirst, about people not having water to drink, about poverty, about suffering, about kids not having the basic needs of life, like
But
food, like water.
it means she's a really angry person because that's exists everywhere in the world.
You gotta be angry. Your anger had to be so strong that it forces you to take action.
Mm.
So if your anger is not strong enough, you're not gonna do anything. You're gonna be passive in your work. So they gotta be that force that take over you. That you, I mean, nothing out there can stop you.
How did you get to meet Jordan Bryant?
Well, Jordan
She from
Bryant-
Indiana. You were based in Dallas. How
Yeah.
did you get to meet her?
Well, during the course of the Ebola crisis in Liberia, I got a phone call to speak at a certain church in Indiana and to help and talk about what was going on in Liberia, the story with Ebola, and
Yeah.
what people could do to help. So I flew out there and spoke about maybe 500-600 people in the room. And after speaking, I was visiting with some of the guys who were coming around, giving them business card, handshakes, and it was a great time. And Jordan was standing right there, very quietly waiting with her little brother, Luke. So after greeting everybody, she came up to me and she said, "Well, my name is Jordan. I'm a student here. I'm in the 8th grade, and I'm 13 years old." At that time, she was 13.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay." And so she said, "I've always had this heart for people who don't have water to drink."
Mm.
Since I was a kid, as though
13
she's not-
years
yeah,
old
as though
is
she's not-
is,
as though
is,
she's-
is, is, is terrified
yeah,
that
terrified
people don't have water
water
to drink.
And I wanted to do something about it. So I had this idea of raising money with my class, my schoolmates, my classmates, to provide water wars somewhere in the world to help some people drink water. And I was impacted from a trip that my parents took me on in South America.
Okay.
And ever since I've been wanting to do something. So she saw a problem, and she wanted to respond to that problem.
Okay. So a few years later, Jordan and her family
Yeah.
joined you to Liberia.
Right.
Was there any impact? How did this trip impact her? Did that change her perspective on anything?
Huge. It even increased it. It increased the fire. It increased the momentum. Motivation, and she's more motivated than ever. We came back from Liberia. I spoke with her yesterday. I'm going to Indiana on the 26th of this month to participate in her fundraiser in Indiana. She's raising money to send 4 Liberians, high school students, to college at the University of Liberia. When she herself is not in the university, she's still a high school student. So she's raising money on the 26th for some of the students she met in Liberia for them to go to college. This is a 15-year-old child raising money to send adults to college in Liberia. Think about that for one moment. So what I realized for this is that whenever there's a problem, that problem presents you an opportunity to make a difference. So the key to your success is not success itself. It's you finding a problem. As you fix this problem, success begins to pursue you. So she saw the problem, she saw a need, and she responded to the need. And that need now that she's responding to it makes her relevant. She adds value to her own life as she adds value to the lives of others. So for people who look at problems and kind of shy away from it and run away from it, it's just the opposite.
Eric, thank you for coming to Denver, and
Yeah.
thank you for sharing part of your night with us. I mean, it wouldn't be any better. Thank you. We are very grateful to have you on the Gratitude Show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.